Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Filipino Bar Association of Northern California's 41st Annual Installation Ceremony and second virtual gala. I'm pleased to introduce my wonderful co-MC this evening, Blaine Valencia. Blaine is an inspiring litigator and a 3L at UC Berkeley. He serves as articles editor for California Law Review and was the leader of both the Filipinx American Law Society and the Coalition for Diversity. This summer, Blaine is the summer associate at Jenner and Block in LA and serves as a research assistant for Professor Asad Rahim with a focus on legal issues implicating queer people of color.
And here's a little bit about Rochelle. Just this past month, Rochelle graduated cum laude from UC Hastings College of Law. During her time as a law student, she served as editor-in-chief of Hastings Constitutional Law Quarterly and dedicated much of her time to service at the East Bay Community Law Center, Minami Tamaki, and the United States Senate Judiciary Committee for Senator Dianne Feinstein. Rochelle has received a number of scholarships from FBANC, including the Pinay Powerhouse Scholarship, the Young Foundation Public Interest Scholarship in 2019, and the Raymond L. Ocampo Jr. Scholarship in 2020. It's a real pleasure and an honor to co-MC with you, Rochelle. Next, while today we are commemorating FBANC's historic 41-year commitment to diversifying the legal profession and to serving the San Francisco Bay Area Filipinx community this evening, we would be remiss if we did not recognize the current state of our nation. Systemic racism and white supremacy plague this nation. With no history, no self as this evening's theme, we are prompted to reflect upon the histories that brought us here and the challenges faced by those before us. The current moment and recent violence for us today prompts urgency, community engagement, organization, and support. And yet, the moment calls for warmth, creativity, checking in, and being present in ways we each individually and collectively have the capacity for.
With that, we wanted to share FBANC's statement on anti-Asian hate and resources to end this violence. FBANC is appalled and saddened by the rising violence and hate inflicted upon Asian Pacific Americans over the past year. FBANC continues to denounce racist characterization of COVID-19, which have inflamed anti-Asian sentiments and contributed to a surge in anti-Asian hate crimes across the United States. The inappropriate racialization of this public health crisis has perpetuated intolerance toward APAs, making them vulnerable to further attacks. In response to the xenophobic violence and discrimination, we encourage you as members of our community to report incidents of anti-APA hate crimes to the appropriate authorities. FBANC reaffirms its support of the Black Lives Matter movement and stands in unity with Asian, Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and other communities of color disproportionately impacted by systemic racism in the US. Please check out our statements on our website and our anti-AAPI hate action guide resources for more information in the chat.
Tonight, we are honored and humbled to be joined by various elected officials, judges, and commissioners from the state of California, San Francisco County, Alameda County, Contra Costa County, and San Mateo County. FBANC is grateful for your continued support and leadership, and we truly appreciate being in community with all of you this evening. We particularly want to say hello to our own FBANC members, founding FBANC member and the very first FBANC president, the Honorable Eleanor Nisperos, founding FBANC member, the Honorable Judge Kitiche, advisory board member, Mayor Raymond Buenaventura, advisory board member, the Honorable Pelayo Llamas, advisory board member, the Honorable Benjamin Reyes II, the Honorable Marla Nisperos, Attorney General Rob Bonta, and California Appointment Secretary Luis Cespedes, who is an FBANC attorney member back during our very first gala, according to the 1981 Gala program. And we would also like to give a special thanks to our sponsors for helping us fund our award-winning programming for the next year, especially our platinum sponsors, Candelaria PC, Hush Blackwell, and Uber Technologies Incorporated.
Thank you again to our dignitaries and sponsors. Up next is Marvin De Leon, who will be singing the US National Anthem and the Philippine National Anthem. Marvin was born and raised in Bataan, Philippines. He works at the San Francisco Veterans Hospital, where he has served veterans for the past decade. Outside of work, he enjoys music and singing. Mr. De Leon is the proud partner of incoming FBANC President-elect Raymond Roland and is a big FBANC supporter. Mr. De Leon dedicates this performance to his late mother, Catalina De Leon.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch, we're so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Bayang magiliw, peras ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyang ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw, may dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pamay di magdidilim, lupa ng araw ng walhatit pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng pag may mga api ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you so much, Marvin. Next, we now want to commemorate FBANC's 40th anniversary and highlight FBANC's accomplishments during a historic and unprecedented year. Please welcome incoming Vice President Nelson Lam, Employment Counsel at Uber Technologies, our proud Platinum sponsor.
This past year marked FBANC's 40th anniversary. To celebrate its legacy, we held virtual panels with the trailblazing founders and presidents throughout each decade of FBANC. Without a doubt, FBANC's past leaders, our roots, firmly ground us in the community with a strong tradition of service. And by similar measure, FBANC continues to grow and blossom into a nationally recognized and awarded professional development organization.
Forming FBANC was a way of, taking off the mask and allowing ourselves to be our authentic selves and to have a place where we could call family.
In the summer of 2020, the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association, NAPABA, bestowed its prestigious Affiliate of the Year award to FBANC. And in October 2020, San Francisco Mayor London Breed recognized FBANC's 4-decade-long commitment to the community at the city's Filipino American History Month celebration.
We've met each other and brought each other along, and here we are today, still addressing the needs of the community, serving our community, and serving those who are coming through the legal profession and developing their own practices.
These accolades come upon the heels of a truly unprecedented year in which we responded to the COVID-19 pandemic, providing virtual unemployment assistance to hundreds, supporting law students with relief stipends, and hosting legal webinars and learning sessions for emergency responders, healthcare professionals, and other vulnerable community members. The challenges this past year also highlighted the systemic racism, injustice, and discrimination that our community faces, along with other people of color, including our Black allies. Throughout the turbulence, FBANC provided a voice for the community, denouncing the rise of anti-Asian rhetoric and violence, and instances of police brutality. We continue to educate by providing the resources, guides, and programming to enable our community to respond.
Today is the whole idea of mentorship is really, really key in terms of FBANC. We have so many people. We don't have them in terms of numbers, but they are there in terms of critical positions.
FBANC advocates and endorses initiatives, legislation, and leaders that impact our community, including the recent historic appointment of California Attorney General Rob Bonta. At its heart, FBANC is a professional development organization, creating a space for law students and attorneys from the Filipino-American community to develop, network, and engage.
I think the other great thing about FBANC is it really was what do they call that in Silicon Valley? An incubator of leaders.
In spite of navigating this goal virtually, FBANC's programming calendar remained full of events, giving us opportunities to listen and learn from our incredible membership, from Filipino-American judges to in-house business leaders. For our law students in particular, we once again hosted Comunidad, a conference connecting them with attorneys, judges, and other leaders, serving as an important reminder that we are not alone and we belong.
You can be successful in your career just by being connected to FBANC.
When we take a moment to pause, it is truly incredible that what started as a moment became a movement across 4 decades, which continues to leave its legacy, or Pamana as translated into Gala. Over the years, FBANC has transformed the complexion of the legal profession by diversifying the bar, supporting Filipino-American students and lawyers, and continuing to serve the greater San Francisco Bay Area community and beyond. It's my pleasure to introduce Mari Bandoma Collado, who is a plaintiff's side attorney at the Dolan Law Firm. Mari serves as FBANC's 40th president and has been on the FBANC board for the past 8 years. She is honored to have received the Raymond L. Ocampo Jr. Family Scholarship in 2011 and co-emceeing FBANC's Installation Gala in 2012.
Thank you so much, Nelson. It's been amazing witnessing you grow from law student to board member and future president of FBANC. Magandang gabi, FBANC family. Welcome to our 41st Installation Gala, No History, No Self. I cannot believe it's been almost a year since I sat before all of you to begin my term as FBANC president. We were all living through so much uncertainty this past year. COVID-19 cases continued to rise and the unemployment rate reached an all-time high. The lines between our work and obligations at home quickly blurred. We were all fatigued from explaining why the attacks on the AAPI community, while not surprising, shook us to the core. We were shocked and appalled by the storming of the United States Capitol. We were all at the edge of our seats following the trial of Derek Chauvin. And despite the overwhelming evidence to support a guilty verdict, we were left unsure about whether there would ever be justice for George Floyd. There was one thing I was sure about, though. I had no doubt that the FBANC community would pull through and do what it had always done, and that is to serve our community. Despite the extraordinary demands during an unprecedented year, the FBANC 2020-2021 board rose to the challenge to carry out FBANC's mission and honor its 4-decade-long legacy of public service and deep commitment to diversity and inclusion. Please join me as we acknowledge the tireless efforts of the FBANC 2020-2021 officers and board of directors, with the support of our committee chairs and members. Thank you all for your leadership. Thank you to our founding members, past presidents, and advisory board members for your guidance and continued support of FBANC. To our law students, our leaders from the Bay Area PALS Coalition, thank you for your commitment to FBANC. To our allies, from sponsoring our gala to volunteering at our legal clinics and attending our events. Thank you for being part of our community. I am so grateful to my Dolan Law Firm family for all their support and words of encouragement. I also want to thank my parents, Danilo and Maris Bandoma, for always believing in me, and also to my husband, Mark Collado, and my son, Mael Bandoma Collado, for always inspiring me to be better. Tonight's gala and this year's theme is No History, No Self. When I think about this theme, I think about how incredible it was to have been able to document the evolution of FBANC through our Legacy Panel series, which featured our trailblazing leaders for the past 40 years and their hard work to turn FBANC into the organization it is today, a nationally recognized and awarded professional development and service organization with over 500 members. When I think of No History, No Self, I think about my own history and how it shaped me to the person I am today. I think about the sacrifices that my grandparents and my parents made, such as leaving the Philippines for a better life here in America. I think about being 12 years old and being ashamed of who I was because of my Filipino accent. I was someone who was afraid to speak up. I think about wanting to go to law school to learn how to protect my family and my friends and make sure that they are never taken advantage of. I think about the pride I felt when I became the first person in my family to go to law school. And I think about moments when I first felt most powerful, like the moment I learned I passed the California bar exam. Before I close, I would like to share a story. Last week, my husband, toddler, and I were physically attacked just steps away from the front door of our apartment building. My husband was carrying our son, and I was holding a pizza box containing leftovers from dinner. An individual blocked our path, and while my husband managed to walk around her, I had to step side to side to figure out how to get through. Saying excuse me triggered something in her, triggered an immense amount of anger that caused her to swing a bag full of cans at me. And without thinking about it, I blocked her attack with a pizza box. And the next few seconds came as a shock because she continued to take swings at me. I realized that the woman was not well when she even took a swing at my baby boy. My husband managed to step back to protect our son, and I stepped in between them, once again, using a pizza box as a shield, while I screamed, "Stop, stop." Fortunately, a neighbor opened the door to our lobby, and we managed to run inside. When I finally had a moment, I realized that my son was shaking. I tried to calm him down and quickly told him, "We're okay, we're okay." There's nothing like seeing your son so frightened to the point that he couldn't even cry. When he told me he was scared and that there was a monster, I took a deep breath. And I thought about how I should respond. I told him she's not a monster. I told him that she's sick and doesn't know what she's doing. My husband, Mark, quickly said, "Yes, that's right. And Mama was Captain America. Did you see her shield?" My son's face brightened up in agreement. He said, "Yes, yes, Mama is Captain America." So I share this story for two reasons. First, words matter. I chose my words carefully when explaining what happened to my son, because as lawyers, we know that what we say and how we say it can make a tremendous impact in a case or a piece of legislation. This past year, we saw how quickly AAPIs were attacked and subjected to discrimination and violence because of the words used by elected officials scapegoating our community for the COVID-19 crisis. Second, FBANC has a long legacy of building community that truly feels like family, a community that fosters the next generation of lawyers and leaders, a community that encourages our members to use our education, our skills to stand up for our community. As lawyers, we have so much power to change our clients' lives. We have the ability to create policies that affect our community, and we have the platform to advocate for a better world. As lawyers who identify as Filipinx, A's, and O's, we have the responsibility to uplift our community. We have an obligation to speak up for our community's rights and ensure our struggles and triumphs are not forgotten. Tonight, we honor some of the most incredible warriors and advocates who have dedicated their lives to doing just that, fighting for our civil rights, ensuring that our histories are not erased, and defending the most vulnerable. Congratulations, Tita Cynthia Bonta, Ruth Silvertaub, and Pep. We also have Julie Su, the first Asian American Labor Secretary in California. Thank you for being part of tonight's celebration as our keynote speaker. And of course, my Pinay powerhouse sister, one of the fiercest workers' rights advocates and community leaders I know and ever had the pleasure of working with, Jennifer Santa Ana, who will be installed as FBANC's 41st president. Whenever we doubt ourselves, our skills, our strengths, our power, or even our sense of belonging, please take a step back because someone looks up to you and counts on you to protect them. I may not look like Steve Rogers, tall, blonde, and blue-eyed, but to my son, I am as much of a superhero like Captain America. This past year revealed to us something many of us already knew, that systems of patriarchy, white supremacy, and capitalism existed prior to the pandemic, and that these systems teach us that we do not belong. But as we reflect on the challenges of this past year and emerge from this crisis, we understand that there's still so much work to do. We know our history. We come from a line of activists and advocates of people power. We are dedicated to social justice. We know ourselves. We are the Filipino Bar Association of Northern California. We are resilient. And when it comes to fighting for our family, for our community, and for those who feel like they don't belong, when it comes for standing up for what is right, we never give up. And in the words of Captain America, we can do this all day. Thank you. It's really been an honor serving on the FBANC board for the past 8 years, and this past year as FBANC's 40th president. Tonight, I also have the pleasure of introducing the Honorable Benjamin T. Reyes II, who will be administering the oath to install FBANC's 2021-2022 officers and directors. Judge Reyes is the first Filipino-American judge on the Contra Costa bench and only the second trial court judge appointed in the 9 Bay Area counties. He serves as an advisory board member to FBANC and gave the 2019 keynote address at the FBANC annual dinner. Welcome, Judge Reyes, and congratulations to our incoming board.
Madam President, Mari, thank you very much. Members of the board, honored guests, award recipients, and sponsors, good evening, FBANC. Mari and the outgoing board, thank you for your service to the community and to FBANC, and thank you for allowing me to administer the oath of office to the incoming board. This is my 32nd year with FBANC, and I'm proud to be a life member. To the incoming board, you have an incredible opportunity as leaders of FBANC to continue to affect social change, to elevate the profile of the Filipino-American legal community, and to advocate for justice on behalf of those who are entitled to justice. As my boss, Chief Justice Tani Cantil-Sacauye, had said at the installation dinner in 2016, speak in a way that makes your voice heard. Speak loudly. In your role as FBANC lawyers and FBANC board members, I encourage you to speak loudly about the injustice faced by our collective and intersectional communities. I encourage you to speak loudly to advocate for the people who need our help and to speak loudly for the people who feel like they have no voice. As our outgoing president, Mari Bandoma, had said to us, continue to use the privilege of your education and authority for good, and in the face of evil, never, ever, ever back down. On behalf of my colleagues on the bench, many of whom who are here tonight, and on behalf of your advisory board, congratulations to the incoming board and to the outgoing board. Now, please raise your right hand for the oath of office. Okay, do we have everyone here? Please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Nelson Farrell Lamb,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of California,
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the bylaws of FBANC
and the bylaws of FBANC
against all enemies and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true
faith and allegiance
the Constitution of the United States,
to the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of California,
the
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the bylaws of FBANC,
and the bylaws of FBANC,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties on which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, FBANC Board.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Reyes, and congratulations to the new FBANC Board of Directors. We are now turning to the recipient of FBANC's first award winner for the evening, FBANC's Jose Rizal Award recipient, Cynthia Bonta. Please welcome Deputy City Attorney of San Francisco, Raymond Rowland, who will proudly introduce our new California Attorney General, Rob Bonta.
It is with great honor I introduce our newest California Attorney General, Rob Bonta, who will provide a special introduction to our Jose Rizal Award recipient, his mother, Cynthia Bonta. The son of parents involved in historic movements like those with the United Farm Workers and the Manongs of the I Hotel, Attorney General Bonta has been a tour de force in the legal community, practicing civil litigation for 13 years, including as a deputy city attorney with the San Francisco City Attorney's Office, an office that is near and dear to my heart. Attorney General Bonta was undefeated as a trial attorney, never losing a jury verdict. As a state assembly member, Attorney General Bonta authored important legislation which honor our history, like establishing the state-recognized Larry Itliong Day and teaching Phil-Am history as American history to youth across the state. Attorney General Bonta, thank you for all the tremendous work you have done for our community. We look forward to hearing how Ms. Bonta has formidably helped you to know history, know self.
Thank you, Ray, and thank you, FBANC, for allowing me this very meaningful moment. Many of you know my mother, Cynthia, is my biggest supporter and my greatest inspiration. And that's why it's so special for me to introduce her as this year's Jose Rizal Award recipient. My mother has been a lifelong force for change. Her passion for social justice knows no bounds. Whether fighting for fair wages and working conditions for California farm workers, standing to protect our Manongs at the International Hotel, advocating to restore democracy in the Philippines, or championing renters' rights today, righting historic wrongs, fighting injustice, and helping people is in her DNA. And she has made sure that the next generation of justice warriors understand that change doesn't happen on its own, that people make it happen. This is something that she installed in her children. I'm forever grateful for the example she has set and continues to set. I am honored to introduce this year's Jose Rizal recipient, Lola to her adoring grandchildren, and mom to me, Cynthia Bonta.
I met Cynthia. We were part of Reform Filipino Education Task Force. We were trying to get Department of Education of California to include an accurate history of Filipinos in the texts and include more about Filipinos in history at the high school and junior high school level. We worked on putting together an accurate history of Filipino Americans and presented that at a couple, maybe 3 of the hearings that they hosted, with the goal of advocating for more inclusion of Filipino Americans in curriculum. We were also in the KDP together, in particular doing anti-martial law work. But in the meantime, she's still doing all this political work. Currently rent control and just cause in Alameda, and she started the sister city relationship between Alameda and Dumaguete, and she's just involved in stuff that Rob's doing and stuff their kids actually are doing. She's somebody who at 83 has a full calendar and a full day every day and continues to have her finger in a lot of things at the same time. She's my role model.
Cynthia Constancia Arnaldo Bonta, a tireless advocate for justice. Cynthia is my mother. She has taught me to know what is right and to act on that knowledge. Cynthia has raised me with the values of determination, discipline, knowing the power of my voice, and to help and serve people and communities who have been overlooked and ignored. I believe she would not disagree with me when I say 3 of her most proudest accomplishments are her children. All 3 of us embody social justice and serving people in the professions that we have chosen. As you continue your work for the future years to come, activism doesn't have to be sacrificial. As you are mindful of your needs and wants, you are that much more tuned to the Filipinx people and communities.
Tita Cynthia, as I call her, loves her apos, her children, their families, and the communities whom she serves. She has a huge heart with lots of space for the youth. Her unwavering belief in youth empowerment reminds me of Dr. Jose Rizal's writing, "Youth are the hope of the nation. Kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan." Tita Cynthia embodies no history, no self, by always believing in people's full potential, especially in the young people's potential. Tita Cynthia is someone who continues to believe in myself, who is a recently arrived Filipino youth immigrant and an emerging community leader. Up to this day, she finds concrete ways to connect with youth activists and organizers and offers her support, counsel, and connections. In one word, Cynthia Bonta is a superstar. She's a superstar who makes everyone around her shine.
You were a visionary, a dreamer with a focus. You've always impressed us with your creative imagination in transforming and empowering leadership. You initiated meaningful and relevant projects that will connect generations. You developed and empowered young future leaders to a much deeper meaning of community activism. You had a life very well lived, both personally and politically, and you were very successful with Rob, our new AG. I will say thank you, Sin, for your continued dedication and continued contributions in the political maturation of the Philam community and leadership. It is with extreme pride that I share the honor of presenting the Jose Rizal Award to you. It is an award for your commitment to inspire humanity, social justice, and equality. Thank you, Sin, and ituloy ang pakikibaka.
Tita Cynthia, you're on mute. I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Lillian, Sorcy, Israel, and daughter Lisa, for making past and future history with me and shaping who I am today. Rob, how exceptional is that to be introduced by my AG, my own son. FBANC, you are the most community-minded set of lawyers I am privileged to know who see the importance of public service lawyers who champion change. I am profoundly honored to join the ranks of FBANC's Jose Rizal Award recipients like Bill Tamayo, Lillian Galedo, Rob Bonta. I take very seriously this awesome platform you have given me to speak, to know history, know self. Here I stand before you on the shoulders of our forefathers who came before us. I am a Filipina American, an API, an immigrant, a woman of color, a mother, a worker. I have experienced racial discrimination, xenophobia, sexism, male chauvinism, and class oppression. I would not be standing before you now had I not been strongly impacted by the civil rights movement of the 60s, and especially by that one person, the father of my children, who took me to Delano to meet the Filipino strikers, be involved in the grape strike, worked on the LA boycott, and served at La Paz, the UFW headquarters, to support the solidarity of Filipino, Chicano, Mexican leadership. I would not be fighting racial discrimination in housing, as in the I Hotel struggle, had it not been for activist leaders like Emil de Guzman. I would not be exposing violations of human rights and US aid to a military dictator in the Philippines had I not worked with KDP, a formation that brought together Philippine-born and American-born Filipino students and community activists like Sorcy Apostol and Maxi Villones. I want to thank my children, Lisa, Rob, and Mark. You were in your formative years during the 10 years I worked every day for the movement. It was rough enough that you were latchkey kids and were left with childcare, even if they were KDP activists. But you also had many dinners without me, or simply be without me. Social justice work is a family affair, a grassroots affair. As I tried to show, I lived our people's history. Protests, dissent, and resistance happen by us, and make it happen. We make it happen. And our perspective is the true perspective of our story. It is for us to tell it like it is. It is for us to write about it, teach it, legislate it. Carlos Belusan's America is in the Heart opened my eyes and has kept it open ever since. It is a must for every Phil-Am to read. I love that there are so many more books now by Phil-Ams. These are our stories documented. Let's call it our story, a change from his story. Thank you to those I personally know who research, publish, and teach our story. Historians in their own right, Don Boholano Mabalan, Estela Habal, Alison Tintianco Cubales, Robin Magalit Rodriguez, Tony Dakipa. Our Philippine relatives do not really know the hardships suffered here because of racial discrimination. I myself came to the US not aware of the waves of immigration to the US and the push and pull factors of immigration until someone sat me down and told me the story. His name was Bruce Oxenia, then instructor at UC Berkeley. The Third World Strike just won ethnic studies, and the Filipino community was making sure they had their Phil-Am history written down. Had it not been for the Education Task Force of Teachers with Terry Bautista and Lillian Galedo, who reviewed social studies textbooks for distortions, omissions, and inaccuracies, I would not have known that the Philippine-American War was reduced to an insurrection, a full-blown war, complete with a new torture technique called the water cure. That did not last only 2 years because resistance to it endured for 4 years longer. As you can see, history was written from the invaders' point of view, not about the resistance of the Filipino people. You know, history has been hidden. History is being revised even now because history exposes the truth. Knowing your history is power. It becomes very personal. It provides the material basis for why things are the way that they are. Why skin color is used to separate the haves and have-nots, and why the poor whites are prevented from joining multiracial communities. Philippine history has been revised, so the current generation has no idea about the Marcos dictatorship of 1972 to 86. We should be alerted. It is happening even here through legislation. We should not allow history to be weaponized. Every one of us, including and especially our younger generation, should know this. Know how history has shaped you. Know how you have been engaged to impact the movement towards justice as makers of history. Know our collective story. Empower our communities until written history documents are the truth. Until written history documents the truth accurately. Lessons are learned collectively and together. We can move that arc of change towards justice. Makibaka.
Congratulations, Tita Cynthia, and thank you for all of your revolutionary efforts to fight for our community and make history. We're so grateful for your advocacy and willingness to impart onto our community the value of remembering that history. Up next, I would now like to introduce you to FBANC Secretary, Angelica Leonardo. Angelica is a Deputy Public Defender of Solano County's alternate Public Defender's Office. She will introduce our Trailblazer Award recipient, Ruth Silver Tobe.
Our Trailblazer awardee is Ruth Silver Tobe. Among her many roles, as noted in our program, she is the supervising attorney of the Workers' Rights Clinic at the Catherine and George Alexander Community Law Center at Santa Clara University School of Law. She is special counsel to Legal Aid at Work, is the legal services chair of the South Bay Coalition to End Human Trafficking, a delegate to Santa Clara County's Human Trafficking Commission, is the coordinator of the county's Wage Theft Coalition, and she is the supervising attorney of the county's Office of Labor Standards Advice Line. Ms. Silver Tobe was instrumental in developing the Filipino Association of Workers and Immigrants, or PAWIS. Her involvement with PAWIS has included advocating for Philippine-ex caregivers who are exploited and trafficked. Ms. Silver Tobe partners with FBANC and PAWIS to provide free legal clinics and Know Your Rights presentations for the Philippine-ex worker community. During the beginning of the pandemic, she also worked with Migrante to assist foreign exchange students from the Philippines who were in the US with J-1 visas but were left without employment due to business shutdowns. Ruth, thank you for all your work to serve the Philippine-ex community.
We have a Tagalog word for Ruth, di pangkaraniwan, or extraordinary. Her work and advocacy for the workers, and in particular for the Filipino community, is what serve the people truly means. She just doesn't provide services. She immerses and integrates with the workers to really know their conditions and problems. Ruth contributed a lot to the growth and development of PAWIS. Maraming salamat, Ruth, sa lahat ng ginawa mo para sa mga manggagawa at migranteng Pilipino. Mabuhay ka!
Attorney Ruth Tobe is a great and a very amazing person. She's more than a friend and a great inspiration in all sectors. That is why she is very well known here in California. Once you ask for help, she'll do everything to help. Our PAWIS organization is so lucky to have her. I learned a lot about the updates of Free Legal Clinic and Know Your Rights training. I can't forget the time when I got abducted by my former employer. She's all out to help me. She even went to the hospital and waited till I got released. Then went straight to Attorney Falwina's house and talked about the plans for my case and helped me get all the resources that I needed. I will never forget what she did for me, and I thank her so much for that. She's really one of a kind.
I first started working with Ruth when I was a community organizer with the Filipino Association of Workers and Immigrants, or BAWIS. Ruth works closely with BAWIS and other community organizations in the Santa Clara County Wage Theft Coalition, which she coordinates. In addition to the Wage Theft Coalition, Ruth has founded or participated in many more organizations, committees, boards, and coalitions than I can list. And through all of this, she's tirelessly worked to advance the rights of Filipinx workers and immigrants and other marginalized people. Ruth has led legal clinics, educational workshops, and direct actions against exploitative businesses. She's provided pro bono legal services to hundreds, if not thousands, of low-wage workers. She's also drafted and successfully advocated for legislative reforms to safeguard and advance the rights of wage theft victims, human trafficking survivors, domestic workers, caregivers and other frontline workers, and many others. This, of course, requires her to attend 1 million meetings, send 1 million emails every day, meet with 1 million clients, all of which she does with humility, compassion, and a fierce determination to win justice. I truly can't think of a more shining example of a movement lawyer than Ruth. As an attorney, she holds herself accountable to directly impacted people. She works to uplift and empower her clients, their communities, and their organizations. On a personal note, as a graduating 3L, I appreciate the mentorship Ruth has provided me throughout the law school process. Congratulations, Ruth. You are truly a champion for our community, and this award is incredibly well-deserved.
As a teacher, a professor, a lawyer, an activist, an advocate, she knows almost everything. I've known her since 2016 when I first joined PAWIS. She's an inspiration to me and to many people, and she really has a big heart for Filipino workers. I appreciate the way she helps workers like me, because she never stops until she's able to resolve a worker's case. I'm just so proud to have met her because she's a champion for workers' rights and a true leader and advocate against wage theft and human trafficking. Thank you.
One word to describe Ruth is that she is very great in every sense of the word. When I met her in 2014 and asked her advice regarding my case, I always remember her because she's very simple. Despite her stature in society, she's very humble and down to earth. She empowered me to advocate for my own rights and welfare as a human trafficking survivor.
Ruth, this is Hui, and I just want to say you're one of the most amazing people I know. I first met Ruth at law school when I took her to Workers' Rights Clinic, and ever since then, I've had the privilege of being able to learn from her and work alongside her. This has particularly been true more recently in terms of the work that we've done on the Wage Theft Coalition. Ruth brought together a lot of organizations, a lot of allies, to change the way we find ways to fight wage theft here in Santa Clara County, and her work has been simply amazing. Thank you so much for everything you do, Ruth.
Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for the video that has touched my heart. I'm humbled and honored to receive this award, but this award does not belong to me. Without the inspiring and empowering FBANC attorneys, past and present board members, Filipinx students, and PAWIS worker leaders, I would not have been able to do the work I do. Attorneys like your past president and current president, Marie Bandoma Collado and Jennifer Santa Ana, have played a pivotal role in the legal advice clinics that we at the Law Center run in the community in partnership with FBANC and PAWIS and in FBANC's excellent virtual clinics. Law student and now attorney at Justice at Last, Chloe Sabarnik, has been critical in the human trafficking work I did in the horrific Rainbow Bright case, where Filipinx care home workers were abused, exploited, and trafficked. Law students like my very own law student, Romay Aquino, and fall students have volunteered for our Bridge to Justice clinic and the Santa Clara University Law School's Labor and Employment Law Society's clinic. Filipinx youth spoke at the Stop Asian Hate rallies, where I was a National Lawyers Guild legal observer. I was inspired by my Filipinx co-panelists at the Santa Clara County Human Rights Commission, who also spoke in support of the Philippine Human Rights Act. The Powys Kapihans, where I regularly provide a legal update of employment law, are a source of joy to me. There are Filipinx scholars from San Francisco State, San Jose State, and the Bolosan Center, and community activists who speak on labor history, where Larry Itliong and other Filipinx workers blaze trails, on women's rights, for which Gabriela has been fighting in the Philippines and in the US, and the international Red Your Lips campaign against sexual violence, about the cruel labor export policy that forces over 6,000 Filipinx workers per day to go overseas for jobs where they are often victims of wage theft and trafficking, conditions which they endure in order to send money home to their families so their families can survive, about the indigenous LUMADs, about the COVID health crisis in the Philippines, and about extrajudicial killings. I'm also grateful to the Filipinx scholars, law students, and lawyers whom I greatly admire. The brilliant activist Michael Tyag, who you heard from, who just graduated from Yale, the activist and organizer attorney Fawina Apiso Mondino, who you just also heard from, and the talented Catherine Nasal in a PhD program at the Bolosan Center, who worked with me on the recent Wage Theft Coalition report by the Santa Clara County Wage Theft Coalition I coordinate. Powys worker leader Tess Briante, who attended over 25 lobby visits with the Future of Work and Workers Coalition, now the California Coalition for Workers' Power, last year to support the successorship bill, which closes a loophole and makes companies liable for wage theft judgments if they transfer ownership to family members or if the successor employer maintains the same workforce facility or operation, a bill that the governor signed. And Tess and Ellie from Powys, who spoke eloquently about their experiences as caregivers during the COVID pandemic at a lobby day on May 26th, with virtual visits by Ash Kalra, Dave Cortese, Anthony Rendon, Wendy Carrillo, and other legislators. I'm also grateful for the opportunity to join Powys and hand out PPE and Know Your Rights information to grocery workers at Seafood City in Milpitas last week, and to work in coalition with Filipinx organizers like Christian Olano in the Labor Workforce Development Agency's California Workers Outreach Project. Finally, I am empowered by the many dedicated Filipinx care home clients who toil in unsafe conditions and risk their lives every day as essential workers during the pandemic and in the face of escalating anti-Asian hate. Again, I am grateful for this award, but even more grateful to FBANC attorneys, worker leaders, and care home workers from whom I have learned so much and who enrich my life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruth, for your astounding advocacy for the Filipinx community. This year, FBANC wanted to highlight the remarkable work of a local nonprofit serving our community on the ground. Our honoree has a special place in my heart as I am an alumni of the program. And through the program, I learned more about my history and myself. Here to introduce the winner of FBANC's inaugural Community Grant Award is FBANC Treasurer Leo Cristobal, Tax Counsel at the California Franchise Tax Board.
This year, FBANC is introducing our inaugural community grant. We recognize that we are part of a collective effort to raise Filipinx American voices and champion our presence where we remain relegated to the margins. We know that we cannot do it alone. However, as legal professionals, we are in a privileged position to give. And with this grant, we wanted to give support to a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering our local Filipinx community in the San Francisco Bay Area. FBANC faced an extremely difficult decision. There were many deserving candidates, and we were humbled by the opportunity to learn about each of these organizations' missions, including combating the increased number of suicidal ideations among Filipinx youth, improving mental health conditions with thoughtful community outdoor spaces, and protecting Filipinx caregivers from COVID-19 exposure in private homes unprotected by OSHA regulations. This year, we are honored to present FBANC's inaugural community grant to Pinay Pinoy Educational Partnerships, or PEP, for their Longshore Elementary School curriculum. Congratulations, PEP.
Pinay Pinoy Educational Partnerships, aka PEP, would like to thank the Filipino Bars Association of Northern California for awarding us the FBANC Community Grant. We are so grateful to be in community with your organization. Since PEP was founded in 2001, it has been centered around being with and serving our community. That community being our ancestors and our descendants. All of our families who deserve their stories to be told. And of course, all of our students, the youngest being kindergartners who are in their first year of school, and our fifth graders who are about to graduate to a new one. We serve our community by creating educational spaces where ethnic studies and Filipina XO American studies are utilized as a means to support liberation, humanization, and wellness of our students, teachers, and the communities in which they belong. These spaces also intend to be community responsive in 3 specific domains. The first being relevance, meaning our curriculum centers students' daily lives, the communities, their families, and their ethnic, cultural, and linguistic histories. Next being responsibility, meaning our educators are committed to understanding and responding to the wide range of needs that impact a student's capacity to be at their best. And finally, relationships. Another commitment our educators make to build meaningful and caring relationships with students and families, because we understand that students do not care what we know until they know that we care. And the FBANC Community Grants will be supporting the creation and sustainability of these educational spaces. We'll be doing so by ensuring we are continuing to develop relevant and interactive lessons through various online platforms as we continue to distance learn. Also ensuring we provide necessary resources and materials that students and families need to stay and feel safe during the school reopening process. And finally, ensuring we do as much as we can to celebrate all of our students, especially those 5th graders graduating to middle school, for continuing to share their cultural wealth and knowledge in our classrooms, and working together to act towards making a positive change in all of the spaces they are a part of during a pandemic. Once again, PEP is so grateful to FBANC for their generosity. We can't wait to continue working as a community together.
Congratulations, PEP. FBANC is honored to contribute to your work and hopes to give to more community-based organizations during the years to come. We're so incredibly grateful to our sponsors over the years to enable us to give in this way. Our next speaker is no stranger to our FBANC family. Mark Peloton is FBANC's 39th president, whose installation ceremony was our last in-person gala we held, now 2 years ago. Mark is general counsel for California's Labor and Workforce Development Agency. He has the honor of introducing our distinguished keynote speaker, California Secretary of Labor and President Biden's nominee for U.S. Deputy Labor Secretary, Julie Su.
Thank you, Blaine. Thank you, Rochelle. It's great seeing everyone here. And I am sad, like Blaine said, that we're still doing this by Zoom, but this has been a wonderful event so far. Congratulations to Rochelle too on graduating this year. We're all looking forward to seeing what you're up to and the wonderful things that you'll go on to do. I love this year's theme of no history, no self, which is so appropriate for this year's incoming and outgoing presidents, Jen and Mari. Jen and Mari are a part of a perpetual through line that runs through a long tradition of worker advocates in our community, which includes Larry Itliong, tonight's award recipient Cynthia Bonta and Professor Ruth Silver-Taub, and FBANC's own Bill Tamayo, who is retiring this year. And I know you're about there, Bill, so congratulations on your retirement later this summer. Tonight's keynote speaker is a part of that same tradition, fighting to ensure that workers have quality jobs, get paid the wages they are owed, and come home safely and healthy from work every single night. California Labor Secretary Julie Su has dedicated her entire career to uplifting workers, knowing that what's good for them is also good for a resilient, booming economy. Born in Wisconsin, she grew up in Southern California, the daughter of immigrants who owned small businesses that she worked at. 2 years after graduating from Harvard Law School, she obtained landmark court decisions involving the exploitation of Thai garment workers in El Monte, California, that held upstream manufacturers could be held liable for their subcontractors' misdeeds. Beyond as she fought to expand the law and push for workers' rights, she spent a decade at what is now Advancing Justice LA. And after that, she was appointed California's Labor Commissioner, where she brought our collective state resources to the fight against wage theft. She now serves as California's Labor Secretary, providing crucial leadership for our workforce and state economy as we emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic. During the pandemic, Secretary Su saw through the creation of protections for our essential workers here in California, including COVID-19 supplemental paid sick leave to allow those workers who got sick to do the right thing and stay home without being worried that they wouldn't have a paycheck to cover them and their families. She also saw through stronger workers' compensation protections to make sure that those workers who contracted COVID-19 had a better shot of being eligible for those crucial health and wage replacement benefits. Seeing all the good work that she has done, although I try my best to put it out of my mind, President Joe Biden has decided that it may be time for her to move to Washington, D.C. to serve as Deputy Secretary for the U.S. Department of Labor. I've been trying to fight her on that. Secretary Su has not just been an advocate for workers outside of the organizations in which she works, but an advocate for the workers on the inside as well. I've had the honor of serving alongside her for almost the past 2 years, and the kindness and humanity she has brought to our work is beyond compare. For me, she has been a role model for how to not just do good work, but to be a good person, and what's important to me right now, a good parent. She leads not by telling people what to do, but by showing them through her own example. And it's not beneath her for when during a Zoom meeting, your kids are screaming and running around in the background, she'll go to her kids' room and grab some old stuffies to try to placate your kids and calm them down. With that, I'm proud and honored tonight to introduce my boss and my friend, California's Labor Secretary, Julie A. Su.
Thank you to FBANC for including me in your celebration tonight and for 4 decades of building solidarity, visibility, community, and inclusion in our profession. Let me also congratulate Mari and the outgoing board and Jennifer, along with the entire board who was sworn in tonight. Organizations like FBANC rely on thousands of hours of volunteer care, love, creativity, fundraising, and organizing. And congratulations to the honorees, Cynthia Bonta and Ruth Silver-Taub, who I consider personal heroes, and PEP. I'm in awe of all the work that's been represented tonight. I am the first lawyer in my family. My mom braved a 30-day voyage on a cargo ship from China to the United States to get here because she couldn't afford a passenger ticket. Like so many children of immigrants, I grew up translating for my parents, making phone calls, writing letters, navigating adult conversations and adult interactions. And as I grew up, I realized that law is really a language, and those who speak it get to decide who gets what in our society, who is protected and who isn't, who gets heard and who doesn't, who gets to vote, work, marry, march in the streets, cross the border, and who doesn't. And I went to law school to become a translator in the language of law for those who were marginalized, discriminated against, and exploited. Early in my career, I was privileged to represent workers who have helped shape my views on the obligations of our profession. Workers like 72 garment workers trafficked from Thailand, forced to work behind barbed wire and under armed guard, sewing clothes for the nation's top manufacturers and retailers. Against all odds, these workers who had suffered unimaginable horrors brought a lawsuit against not only their captors, but also the companies they were sewing for. We ultimately won over $4 million in that suit that many said was impossible to win, and that catalyzed a movement that transformed the industry. And workers like the Filipinx nurses in Delano who brought suit against the hospital where they worked because the hospital adopted an English-only policy in the workplace. My team and I used to drive up the 5 freeway from Los Angeles to meet with them in a park where our meetings became not only times to strategize about their case and their testimony, but also to share food. Once freed from the constraints of an office and the formality of talking in terms of legal theory and evidence, the workers felt freer to share. And I learned that it wasn't so much the ban on speaking Tagalog and Ilocano that bothered them. It was the feeling that the employer wanted to erase them. And bringing their lawsuit was a way of asserting their full worth. And like the workers that Ruth Silvertaub talked about, the ones who work long hours, often 2 jobs, who bravely use their cases to tell their own stories and to demand an end to wage theft. Workers demanding justice and corporate responsibility don't just bring cases. They reject the message that our society too often tells working people, especially immigrant workers of color, that they should just put their heads down and know their place. The workers across the state speaking up and organizing for their rights carry on the legacy of Larry Itliong and Philip Veracruz, and the work of heroes like Cynthia Bonta, who shared how her own life and activism were shaped by meeting Larry and Philip. We are building on and making history as we go. The cases and issues that we as lawyers insist be heard when we support the fight for economic and racial justice, for human rights and human dignity, are not only about the law, not only about wages or workplace conditions, they're about asserting the full worth of every human being. And that's what makes FBANC so important. Creating connections between Filipinx attorneys and law students, and then raising issues that matter are not just about networks, as important as that is. It's about asserting the full worth of each of us, the relevance of our stories, languages, journeys in all of their glorious diversity, whatever path we choose. It's about demanding more than just a few token people of color in the boardrooms or on the partnership track. Instead, it's about saying we expect and deserve true equity, inclusion, and justice. When I became the first Asian American labor secretary in California in 2019, the governor and I got to build a team of the best attorneys, policymakers, and advisors in the state. For general counsel, the top attorney overseeing labor policy and litigation in the state, the person we wanted is someone near and dear to FBANC, Mark Peloton. This was both because he was and is the best person for the job and because he is Filipino. In other words, when you demand excellence and diversity, you get both. Over this last year, Mark crafted policies, strengthened workplace standards that saved workers' lives, wrote executive orders for the governor that expanded paid sick leave and workers' compensation for workers who got COVID on the job, helped guide the payment of nearly $150 billion in unemployment benefits. In short, he helped lead California through this global pandemic. FBANC has every reason to be proud. We are finally turning a corner on COVID-19 after a year of tremendous pain and loss. Californians came together, but even our collective sacrifice, like the effects of the pandemic itself, were not borne equally. Communities of color, women, the disabled, elderly, and low-wage workers were hit the hardest. Businesses, and in some cases, whole industries closed, and workers have paid the price, both on the front lines and in the unemployment lines. Even before the pandemic, when California's economy was at its most robust, 1 in 3 workers in the state was making less than $15 an hour. 20% of those individuals had a college degree. African Americans, Latinx, and Pacific Islanders were disproportionately represented in low-wage jobs. Put another way, too few Californians have a good job, and our jobs are exacerbating racial inequality. We can do better. Let's work together to reimagine what is possible. We can build a high road economy that values the full worth of every human being, where no one is told to put their head down and know their place, where all work is characterized by humane conditions, where people looking for work and employers who create good jobs find that our educational institutions and training programs meet both their needs. And these jobs can help meet our commitment to a clean climate, affordable housing and transportation, early childhood education and care, and so much more. I want to close by sharing a story about Suchadal, who was one of the Thai garment workers trafficked to the United States and held against her will. When Suchadal was 9 years old, she loved going to school. And on the first day of 2nd grade, she put on her hand-me-down school uniform and waited by the door. But that day, her parents told her that she would no longer be going to school because they needed her to take care of her younger siblings while they went out to work in the fields. Suchadal cried, and she refused to take off her uniform. And for weeks after that, she put it on again each morning and waited by the door, hoping that her parents would change their minds. They never did. And years later, as a young adult, Suchadal found herself lured by human traffickers to California. And in her own right, eventually her own strength and courage and lawsuit to demand justice would make history. But I also promised her, when she told me that story, that I would make sure that her voice was heard in the halls of power at every table I was at, because I got the education that she wanted. As attorneys, we have an elite education that so many can only dream of. How will we use it? From government to nonprofits to the private sector, this is a moment like no other. I know that FBANC will continue to demand and channel that the enormous power of the law and your collective ability to translate the law for those who don't speak it be used for great things to further the cause of justice. And I will be right there alongside you. Thank you.
We're so honored and thankful for your words, Secretary Zhu. We look forward to your continued dedication to public service. We are now at one of FBANC's favorite portions of the evening, awarding our student scholarships. Here to do so is FBANC's Officer at Large, Maribeth Charvet, a corporate attorney at Goodwin Procter, our proud partner sponsor.
Thanks, Rochelle. We'd like to take a moment to congratulate the class of 2021. You all have accomplished such an incredible feat during such a challenging year, and we are so proud of you. Congrats on graduating from law school. We're excited for the next step in your journeys. From UC Berkeley, we have Adrian Molineda, Veronica Bognot, Nerissa Bondoc, Will Lowry, and Arnbian Sabillo. From UC Davis, Carissa Ecladen, Ricky Gorn, and John Morgan J.M. Florentino. From UC Hastings, our very own co-MC, Rochelle Joy Jernan. From the University of San Francisco, Rianne Briones and Amy Montoya. And from Santa Clara University, we have Brianna Espe, Joanna Padua, and Andrew San Jose. Congrats to the graduates. Each year, FBANC awards a number of scholarships to our Bay Area students. This year, we've raised $31,500 in scholarships thanks to our generous donors. This year's awards include the Raymond L. Ocampo Jr. Family Scholarship, a $10,000 scholarship funded by the generosity of Ray Ocampo and his family and awarded in memory of Mr. Ocampo's parents and in honor of immigrants like them for the sacrifices they made and the hardships they endured in search of a better life for their families. As you've heard tonight, Mr. Ocampo is a founding member of FBANC and one of the cornerstones of our legal community. Here is this year's recipient, Adrian Molineda.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Adrian Molineda. I am a graduate. I just graduated from UC Berkeley School of Law. When I think of Filipinx history, I think of my mother. She crossed continents to give me and my siblings a better life. And through my family's struggles in our first years here in the United States, she modeled resilience and fortitude. She demonstrates what it means to know, embody, and to live out Filipinx American history. I am eternally grateful to her, and I love her very much. Thank you to FBANC for your generosity and mentorship through the years. Looking forward to many more. Thank you.
Congrats, Adrian. Next is the Honorable Ronald Kitache Scholarship, a $5,000 scholarship named for Judge Ronald Kitache, a founding member of FBANC and first Filipino-American judge in SF Superior Court, and the longest serving judge on the court until his retirement in 2018. This year's scholarship is being awarded to Tiffany de Guzman.
Hi everyone, I'm Tiffany de Guzman and I am a rising 3L at Berkeley Law. And I am so honored to be the recipient of this year's Honorable Ronald Kitache Scholarship. And when I think of no history, no self, I think of my Lola who had to watch her children move to America one by one. I think of Bai Bibiaan, a Pinay elder leading the charge against logging in the Philippines. I think of all the Pinay attorneys here who have ever been the only woman of color in a classroom or a courtroom. I think of these people because when I think of no history, no self, I think of all the strong Pinays who are not only living this theme in their own lives, but are raising the next generations to do the same. Thank you.
Congratulations, Tiffany. Next is the FBANC Charles and Melita Jung Charitable Fund Scholarship, a $3,000 scholarship funded by Charles and Melita Jung. Charles Jung is a pillar of the Asian American community and an exceptional litigator at the Nasiri and Jung LLP law firm. He and his wife have been generous supporters of FBANC, and for several years they have funded this scholarship, which supports law students committed to public interest law work. Romay Aquino is this year's recipient.
Good evening. My name is Romay Ann Dennison Aquino. I attend Santa Clara University School of Law, and I am honored to receive this year's Charles and Melita Jung Charitable Fund Scholarship. The legacies of my ancestors that watch over me after joining God too soon continue to fuel me in my pursuit of justice. Because of their energy and persistence, I can conquer all things. Thank you.
Congratulations, Romay Ann. This marks the inaugural year of the Theodore Borromeo Scholarship, a $2,500 scholarship funded by Theodore Ted Borromeo. This scholarship signifies a commitment to supporting a law student who, like Mr. Borromeo, is mindful of the experiences of immigrants and immigrant families. This scholarship is awarded to a law student in pursuit of any practice perspective in employment and labor law, the area in which Mr. Borromeo dedicated his career for almost 40 years until his retirement in 2020. The inaugural recipient is one of our tech team leads, Nicolette Ray Nobles Bencito.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nico, and I'm a 3L at the University of San Francisco School of Law. It is such an honor to be receiving FBANC's inaugural Theodore Borromeo Scholarship this year, as No History, No Self reminds me of my grandpa and how he's left a legacy that centers the importance of family and community. It gives me strength to know the sacrifices he's made to bring our family to the US, and both my family and his legacy keeps me grounded as I pursue a legal career focused on advocating for workers' rights in labor and employment law. Thank you.
Congratulations, Nico. Next is the FBANC Foundation Legal Scholarship, a $5,000 scholarship funded by the generosity of the FBANC community's members and supporters. This scholarship is awarded to a law student who reflects the community's commitment to and investment in developing future champions of Filipinx interests in Northern California. This scholarship is being awarded to Marjan Chris Abubo.
Hi, magandang gabi. My name is Marjan Chris Abubo, and I am a rising 3L at UC Davis, and I am humbled to be selected as the FBANC Foundation Scholarship recipient. I carry the passion for liberation and justice as a direct descendant of Tandang Sora, known to many as the mother of the Philippine Revolution. Hearing bedtime stories of her at such a young age, I was reminded to always dream big because I stood on the shoulders of revolutionaries. Thank you to my family, friends, and mentors for motivating me to continue advocating for movements much larger than myself. Thank you, and maraming salamat.
Congratulations, Marjan. Next, we have the FBANC Foundation Bailiff Foundation Joint Familia Scholarship, a $3,000 scholarship funded by the FBANC Foundation and the Bay Area Lawyers for Individual Freedom Foundation. The Familia, or family, joint scholarship highlights a law student who has demonstrated commitment to the Filipinx American and LGBTQI communities. Alex Alam is this year's recipient.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alex Alam. I'm a rising 3L at UC Hastings, and I'm very humbled to receive the FBANC Bailiff Familia Scholarship Award. When I think of No History, No Self, I think about the time when I was about 12 or 13 years old. I was denied admission to the high school of my choice. I was at the top of my class and passed the entrance exams with the flying colors. But none of that mattered because I was reduced and perceived as just a teenage gay boy who would be inappropriate and dangerous to the other boys. A decade and a half later, I have climbed steep mountains, broke through every boundaries, walked past every treacherous paths, survived 4 brain surgeries, leukemia, and a pancreatic cyst. This is the personal story I look back to be reminded of where I came from and how far I've become. This is the story of how my dream started, and I promise to use all the privileges and newfound strength to further support the LGBTQ and film community. Thank you, FBANC and Bailiff, for this scholarship and your generosity. Maraming salamat.
Congratulations, Alex. And last but not least, the Honorable Eleanor Ojukayan Nisperos Women's Committee Scholarship is a $1,500 scholarship that commemorates Judge Nisperos, California's first Filipino-American attorney and FBANC's first president. This year, the scholarship is being awarded to 2 deserving recipients who are applying to law school. The first is Jasmine May Alindayu.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmine May Alindayu. I'm an upcoming junior at the University of Washington, and I'm one of the recipients of the Honorable Eleanor Nisperos Scholarship. To know thyself means honoring my parents and their sacrifices. They may have given up their citizenship and became American, but it does not make them any less Filipino. I aspire to continue their legacy and to honor their perseverance. I would also like to give a huge thank you to FBANC and the committee for providing an avenue that supports my passion. I will continue to honor my parents and this scholarship. Maraming salamat.
And last but not least, the other recipient is Alyssa Gonzaga.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Naim Bagarabii to my fellow Ilocanos at magandang gabi. My name is Alyssa May Gonzaga. I am a UC Berkeley graduate from 2019, and it is my honor to be the second Eleanor Nisperos Scholarship recipient. Today, the memory I want to share is about my younger self. So younger Alyssa didn't like being told what to do with her education, and against my lolo's wishes, I vowed to never become a lawyer. Well, he got what he wanted. But I also want to thank that younger self because she was stubborn and tenacious, and it made me intentional with what I wanted to do with my life. And now that I'm certain that I want to go into law, I know that my role in the movement is to use the power of the law to uplift my community and fight for them. So thank you so much to my family, my loved ones, my community, FBANC, my ancestors for letting me stand on your shoulders today.
Congratulations, Alyssa, and congratulations to all of our 2021 scholarship recipients. FBANC's ability to support our law students would not be possible without your support. Here to enthusiastically invite you to support our students is Rich Piarota, principal at Myers-Nave, past FBANC president, current advisory board member, and professional auctioneer.
Thank you very, Mary Beth. Indeed, I am enthusiastic. I'm very enthusiastic for this event, and this is absolutely a family affair. I just want to thank you for inviting me to be here again. I want to congratulate the new board. I want to congratulate this immediate past board, especially Mari, for your amazing leadership. And I just wanted to also congratulate all of you for being here during these very trying times, but we're getting out of it soon, and hopefully next year we'll all be together again to celebrate this amazing family party that we always that we have, and it's always so good. So you'll see on the screen that we've got a little goal here, and that little goal is about $10,000. Shouldn't be difficult to achieve because we have about 120 people in this great, amazing event. And remember that your gifts are all tax deductible to go into the FBANC Foundation. I know we have some tax attorneys here that can validate that, but I know for sure that that's where it goes. And everything goes to our amazing scholarship recipients, as you can see. And supporting that scholarship is a family affair. As our honoree Cynthia Bonta said, it's a grassroots affair. I totally agree with that as well. Your financial contributions are supporting the next generation of Phil-Am leaders. And some of them who are here tonight, in the mold, of course, of Cynthia Bonta and Rob Bonta, of Judge Reyes, one of my mentors, Chief Justice Kantil Sakue, of course, our past president, Mari Pandoma Collado, Raymond Rowland, an amazing attorney at the Deputy City Attorney's Office, will be a president-elect, and of course, Jennifer Santana, who is going to be our incoming president. You are supporting some amazing people who are amazing attorneys now and in their own right, and those who are the future that you just saw who are receiving scholarships are going to be FBANC's next leaders. So we have a goal tonight. I want you to know that you can text FBANC 41 to 1-877-678-1487. I think we're going to be saying that throughout this time. Again, text FBANC 41 to 1-877-678-1487. And we have this thermometer that's going to be showing throughout this time. We have about 10 minutes or so, but I want to say that your pledge, your fund, this is called a fund in need, goes all of it goes to the scholarships. And these scholarships have an amazing investment, some of whom are past presidents of FBANC, amazing attorneys in their own right who are doing amazing things, like our advisory board members and past presidents, Abigail and David Mesa. Sonia Delenn, thank you very much for donating $250. Thank you very much. We also have Vice President Nelson Lamb, Membership Director Bonifacio Cisan, President-elect Ray Rowland. We have some amazing gifts coming in already. I want to say that the first ask I want to say here is at the $1,000 level. If anyone wants to give at the $1,000 level, go ahead and put it in the chat. Go ahead and put it into the I'm in for $1,000. Jean Grove, my friend, thank you to the Grove family. She's in for $1,000. Thank you so much, Jean. I want to give her a virtual round of applause to her and her amazing family for that amazing gift of $1,000. Anybody else at the $1,000 level? I mean, gee, that's amazing. I'm going to throw in $1,000 as well. So put me down for $1,000 as well. And Vanessa Candelario, one of our sponsors, putting in one of our past leaders and presidents. That's $3,000 right there. We have a $10,000 goal. We have Vanessa Candelaria, myself, and Jean in for $1,000. Thank you so much. We want to thank David for $100. We want to thank David Mesa for $300. Thank you very much. Let's go to our, and that's tuition. Let's just talk about tuition real quick. Tuition is approximately $54,000 per year. We know that. Housing in this time is approximately $18,000. We're trying to support our law students in all of these things. Bar prep is about $4,000. All of these scholarships are going towards, all of these donations are going towards those scholarships. We want to thank Lillian. Thank you very much for your $100 gift. Again, let's go to our $750 givers. Anybody wants to give at $750? I see Jennifer, our incoming president, Jennifer Santana, will give us $750. Thank you, Jennifer. Put it in the chat. Anybody else want to give at the $750 level? Anybody else? At the $750 level, you're giving for books and study materials are about $1,500 per year. So you're paying half right there at $750 for $1,500 per year is books and study materials. $750 gives about half of that. So this is an amazing gift amount at $750. Jennifer will give at $750. Thank you very much. Anybody else at the $750 level? Fantastic, fantastic. Let's all look at the $500 level. The $500 level is our sweet spot. Anyone want to give at the $500 level? We want to thank Bill Tamayo at $500. Thank you so much, Bill, for your gift at $500. Well, Bill Tamayo, thank you. Christine Stark says she'd give at $500. Thank you very much, Christine, at the $500 level. Antonio Raimundo at $1,000. Thank you very much, Antonio. Isabel Tan is in for $500. Thank you very much. Christine, we love you. Thank you very much at $500. Velasca and Rianne are inspired by the law students. They're going to give at the $500 level as well. Thank you very much for that $500 gift. Anybody else at the $500 level, my friends? Oh, Sonia will come in for an additional $250. Her son, Justin Fitzsimmons, graduated on May 24th from Georgetown Law. Congratulations to Justin and to you, Sonia. She's going to go to $500. Gliselle, thank you very much for $500 as well. Nolasco Santa Ana, thank you very much for your $1,000 gift. Again, another inspirational gift. Thank you very much. That's, of course, Jennifer's dad at $1,000. Thank you for that amazing gift. We're still at the $500 level. Anybody else at the $500 level want to give at $500? We are so thankful for all of you who've given so far. Again, we're at the $500 level. Anyone else want to give at the $500 level? We want to thank you all. Thank all of our $500 gift donors. We want to go to our $300 level. Anyone want to give at the $300 level, my friends? Thank you very much to again, to David Mesa and Abigail Mesa at $300. Thank you very much for that amazing gift. I know that an old friend of mine, Rachel Puno Juliana, is going to give at the $300 level. Thank you very much again. This is the $300 level, my friends, at $300. This is the amazing level that gives. Think about the total minimum average cost of law school at $73,500. Jessica and Abigail, thank you very much at $500. Eric De Los Santos, thank you very much, sir, for $300. Welcome to the Bay at $300. Anyone else at the $300 level, my friends? Anyone else at the $300 level? This is the level that we want to see as many people as possible. We're getting closer to our goal. Please continue to put it in the chat. We're receiving some more gifts. Gliselle, thank you very much at the $500 level. Thank you so much, Rachel. James De Los Reyes, an old friend. Thank you very much, my friend, for $300. Thank you very much, James, for that amazing gift. We appreciate you. Thank you very much for that amazing gift at $300. How about our $250 level, my friends? How about $250? That $250 level is an amazing level. Anybody can give at the $250 level. We want to average out on all the participants and panelists here at $100 each. We can get to our goal of $10,000. Again, this is the $250 level. Alberto, thank you very much for your gift of $500. Thank you, Alberto Montefalcone, for $500. Thank you very much, sir, for that amazing gift. Anyone else? We're still at the $250 level. Anyone else want to give? You can give at any level at this point. I've called out all kinds of levels, 1,250, 750, you name it, put it in the chat at $500. Anybody else want to give at the $250 level? All gifts are welcome. Let's go to our final level. This is this level right here. Everyone can play at the $100 level. Get in at the $100 level. Ernie Orente at $250. Thank you very much, Ernie, at $250. Bonifacio, thank you very much for your 100. Haley McAllister, thank you very much for your 100. Palayo, Judge Lamas, thank you very much, Palayo. Old friend from East Bay, $250. Thank you very much for that amazing gift. I want to see some names up there that I haven't seen yet. I want to see Rob Bowie. Where you at? Mary Beth, thank you very much for $100. Thank you very much for that amazing gift and being part of this planning. Mary Beth, Mari can't keep up, of course. Alberto, thank you very much again at the 500. Melanie Tiongsa, thank you very much, Melanie, at $150. Thank you very much, Melanie. All your gifts, text 41 to FBANC 41, text your gift to FBANC 41. Marty again gave at the $500 level. Eleanor and Mike Nisperos, they gave at the $1,500 level. Ed Antolin, thank you very much at the $500 level. Adriana A, thank you very much at the $50 level. Thank you very much. Ted Borromeo also gave $2,500. That was his inaugural scholarship. Thank you so much. I'll put it in the chat. We're going to follow up with you as well. If you want to, I think we met the goal. I'm pretty sure we met the goal. We just have a couple more minutes. Anyone else want to put in the chat any gift between $1,000 and $100? I'll call you out and thank you for supporting FBANC and this amazing gift, this amazing scholarship we're doing. Judge Kinichai, thank you very much, Judge, for $1,000. It was amazing to appear in front of you. Ed, once again, thank you very much. Rosanna, thank you very much for your $100 gift. We appreciate you. Ray Buenaventura, I saw you out there, my friend. Regina, this is Tita Cynthia's friend. Thank you very much for your $100 gift. Thank you, Regina, for that amazing gift. Anybody else, we want to acknowledge you. We want to thank you for supporting our scholarship, supporting our law students, supporting FBANC, this amazing organization that we call family. We are so humbled and thankful for your gifts today. If you want to give another gift, please, fbank.org has an ability on the website for your gift. We're taking all gifts, all donations, and all of it, as you know, goes to our scholarships to support the future of this amazing organization that I've been a part of since, geez, it's been a long time, since 2000, I think. We want to thank everyone for your amazing participation in this great fund to need. It looks like I'm looking at the numbers and I'm doing some rough calculations. I'm a lawyer, math was never my strong suit. We're at $12,800. We made our goal. Give yourselves a round of applause at home, wherever you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've exceeded our goal way much more than we ever imagined. Thank you for support. Ed Milashinsky, thank you very much. We appreciate you. We'll see you all at FBANC 42 next year. Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you, Rich, and to everyone who donated this evening. To bring this evening to a close is our new president, Jennifer Santa Ana. Jennifer is a trial attorney at the U.S. Department of Labor, where she has the privilege of enforcing federal employment and labor laws born out of our country's civil rights and labor movements.
We thank FBANC for tonight's event to remember and celebrate our history. We can't wait to see where Jennifer will take us in the coming year.
Jen, so sorry you're on mute.
I've been so excited that the whole event has been just so amazing. This program was something that, you know, I formulated, and I just can't thank this whole team enough for making it happen. It's just, I'm really overwhelmed, and thank you so much all for your generosity and for being here after being more than a year apart. So let me go to my actual speech. I was just kind of so surprised at the whole support that you've given to this fantastic community. So I'm so happy and incredibly honored to follow those who have come before me as FBANC's 41st president. Yet, I am saddened that this is not the first but second virtual gala we've held. Our gala last year took place when everyone was just getting used to the Zoom world. I profusely apologize. We're doing it again this way, now with Zoom fatigue. Regardless, of these circumstances, I'm so filled with gratitude, as I said earlier, that we are in community together to celebrate FBANC. I'm truly thankful for your presence because this outgoing board, this incoming board, so incredibly deserve it. FBANC is no simple task. To say we work hard is an understatement. We are relentless to do right by our mission, to serve the legal and larger Filipinx community. And we did it with the same gusto, enthusiasm, and creativity during one of the most difficult times in our lives. Under the revolutionary leadership of Mari Bandoma Colado, who is still telling me, Jen, you're muting yourself, or Jen, you forgot this, forgot that. I'm just truly grateful for all you've done. For example, we held free virtual legal clinics that were among the first of its kind in the state of California. We developed resources and critical allyship in our work against anti-Asian hate and racism. We mobilized with Filipinx bar associations across the nation to push for the nomination of Attorney General Rob Bonta, who is here tonight. So thank you, Attorney General. We continued to build the pipeline for more diversity in the profession through ingenious programming like the Law Student Comunidad Conference and the Pinay Powerhouse. And FBANC won the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association, or NAPABA's Affiliate of the Year Award. NAPABA is the nation's largest Asian Pacific American member organization, representing the interests of 60,000 attorneys, judges, law professors, and law students. FBANC is the first Filipinx Affinity Bar Association to win the recognition in its 32-year history. Mari, because of all this and more, I truly love you as my sister, as my colleague, as my dearest friend, one of my closest friends. Thank you for putting all of your heart and passion into this organization. You've created a lot of things, but you've also carried FBANC forward in ways unimaginable. So at this time, when we are so close to crossing the gateway towards a post-pandemic future, and when we are now in a new political climate, why is our Gala theme no history, no self? Many of you and many of us want to forget that last year existed. But as our Jose Rizal Award recipient, Cynthia Bonta, reminded me a few days ago, the pandemic taught us a lot. Community is more important than individualism. When we collectively experience a threat to our everyday lives, sorry, hold on. Let me do that again. Community is more important than individualism. When we collectively experience a threat to our everyday lives, we are awakened to the very truth that every human deserves equal access to healthcare, sustainable housing, a quality education, and a sense of belonging. And thank you to keynote speaker, Secretary Sue, who hopefully is my new boss one day, for ensuring that California workers had a safety net upon losing their jobs during the pandemic. That is why I believe no history, no self is very critical during this transition. We cannot forget the lessons of yesterday as we move forward. We have witnessed the threat to democracy and human rights when the work and struggle of our ancestors are forgotten. As the FBANC founding presidents reminded us during last year's legacy panel, FBANC was born at a time when our manongs were being evicted from the I Hotel, when martial law plagued our families and homeland. Membership to this bar association is not simply a self-aggrandizing exercise to acquire positions of import. It is a bar association rooted in the empowerment of future change makers to promote diversity and to fight for the dignity of our people. And we know we cannot do it without critical allies, like our incomparable Trailblazer Award recipient, Ruth Silvertaub. For FBANC's 2021-2022 year, no history, no self. We will continue FBANC's legacy of being committed to community. We will center our programming on how to address recurring issues combating our community for decades, from immigration to workers' rights, to housing, and to combating systemic racism. I want to discuss how our legal community, with our power and our influence, can engage in more pro bono work to redress hardships that have plagued our communities for so long. Last, I want to strengthen our ties to our grassroots kasamas who tirelessly work on the ground to help the least privileged among us. The meaning of no history, no self also has a deeply personal meaning for me. I was elected to serve as your 41st president on end of May 2020. But on June 8, 2020, almost exactly 1 year ago today, and just 3 days before FBANC's 40th installation gala, I suffered from a stroke when I was 6 months pregnant. I lost my ability to read, to write, and much of my memory. To put it simply, I lost the bread and butter of my profession, of our profession. My recovery was rooted in two things. One, I became obsessed with understanding my own history and the history of our people's struggle for justice. I became an attorney to help our community. I became an attorney to help the immigrant community. And I didn't want to forget why I wanted to do that. So I reread books about the Delano grape strike, the People's Power movement, and anti-martial law work. I wanted to remember, why are we here? How did we get here? And why have we been historically treated as lesser than? The second source of my recovery is my incredible network of people. My parents and my sister, who are here tonight, provided me with the love and laughter I desperately needed to fight the sadness I felt about my situation. To rebuild basic reading skills, my husband Alex and I would read simple kids' books gifted to us during our baby shower. Once I was ready to put my toe into remembering how to be a lawyer again, this incredible FBANC family lifted me up. My mentor, FBANC founder Bill Tamayo, would check in on me every couple of weeks, even stopped by at my house. All the past presidents that I have just had such close relationships with, Abigail Rivamonte Mesa, David Mesa, Rianne Fajardo, Christine Start, Vanessa Candelaria, and Lorna Garcia de Guzman, not once questioned my ability to practice again. And immediate past president Maribel Doma Collado, president-elect Ray Rowland, and the entire board gave me every opportunity to draft position statements, utilize my public speaking skills, and co-lead engagements. Because I don't have the words to thank you and to thank the ancestors before us, to thank FBANC, I invite Zoe Dorado, Juniper Dorado, and Alessandra Mohar, youth leaders and poets from Filipino Advocates for Justice, where I interned when I was a law student, thanks to Professor Bill Hing from University School of Law, to share their poem commemorating our history and our community. The poem is entitled Dahil sa iyo, translated from Tagalog as Because of You. I hope it inspires you to use the power of your history and the power of the law for good.
Dahil sa'yo, you, this mother-tongued rhythm quick to finish the sentence I've been asking for a while now, wondering if I'm writing an elegy, like if this all starts and ends with you.
Because of you, hundreds of thousands of people are proud to be Pinoy. A series of chills spread to every inch of my barely 5-foot body when I hear your chant that used to sound foreign to me, that I stuttered, repeating after those who spoke Tagalog since they were 3. You are the immediate response when someone asks me, what's Philam history? The celebration of resistance, celebration of claiming your place in its country. And as I take notes to remember your importance to my identity as a Philam, I selfishly ask if this is even my history to claim.
Quote, the past is alive, a living thing. You own it, owe it. You have a sacred legacy, a birthright, unquote. Dahil sa'yo, there were no sacred legacies, no birthrights given to me. Of the history that I learned in school, there was nothing that was mine. A Taiwo Pinay kid, hands empty. Because how can I own something that I don't know? How can I truly own my sacred birthright when I don't even know what is supposed to be mine?
Dahil sa'yo, a book that I have not finished yet, behind on the first chapter, thought I had enough time and time again, looking and searching through you, for you, restless, at the back corner of a classroom, watch you backbend since this morning, since these years set foot on dirt, buried this life here, lived here. What does it mean to die here? Again, on the page, breathless, waiting to fall off the precipice of you, watching myself trip on names I do not know, like how they were tucked neatly away, this history that's been bent to fit inside convenience, and how it digs and digs at my roots.
If I could build a time machine, I would. But instead, I search for you in me. I've learned to live with the burden that I must do better than those who came before me, and be validated by this country's most prestigious colleges, and fulfill the dream that dangled above your head. I do not want to disappoint you. I do not wish to defy you, but I don't even know what would make you proud. To claim, to own, to belong. Because of you, I breathe. I wonder. I dream. I live to be what you have pushed me to be. Do you think they think about me wherever they rest, even though I don't know their names? How will I live for them, live for me, and live for my future apos?
Dahil sa'yo, I ask, what does it mean to know something? Like, do I belong to this history, and does it belong to me? A story I keep writing and rewriting, like, am I supposed to be in this, telling this dahil sa'yo?
Because of you. Dahil sa'yo. Do I do it because of you? Did you do it because of me? And will they do it for me just as I did it for you?
I guess what I mean is, who is this for? This space, room, blank on the page, still learning if I'm supposed to heal with this. How this wound left marks on the paper I don't know how to erase. Can't leave the evidence of myself ugly.
Dahil sa'yo, I craved whiteness. I craved long legs, green eyes, a button nose, Nutella sandwiches with the crusts cut off. I remember scraping mabu tofu and rice out of my lunch thermos and into the compost. My lunch left uneaten, not because I wasn't hungry. Dahil sa'yo, I craved whiteness. I don't think I was thinking exactly that, but that's what it was. I craved whiteness, so I shoved down everything else, down a little lower, into a box below the surface.
So I left it there, watched it stay there, forgot it was there.
Dahil sa'yo, I decided to open it up again. This box that was meant for me, given to me.
But maybe it's Not that I was given something to own. Maybe it's more like a gift of knowledge was placed in my hands. The power to cherish and hold. The knowledge that I have belongings, that my hands should be filled, overflowing past my fingertips and palms, through my body, healing forgotten parts of me, these wounds.
Began to remember this body again, began to stumble and fall through it all again, this outward movement of reaching through the ether, like this is relentless navigation, like maybe this is a part of healing, like maybe I will always be healing and learning how to just be here, present.
Dahil sa'yo, I dare to struggle. I've learned what it means to live in this skin, with these roots that haven't reached their center, that are slowly watered by the tears that unapologetically fall from my face as you sit there telling me to simply breathe.
Dahil sa'yo, Filipino accents remind me of warm hugs, good food, and laughing at your own jokes. Dahil sa'yo, I love loving and I love loving you. Dahil sa'yo, I know that brown women have a certain strength and power that no one else does. I am a brown woman. I have a certain strength and power that no one else does. You taught me that. You never said it straight to my face, but you didn't have to. Dahil sa'yo, I think that you are beautiful. Your brown skin, crinkling almond eyes, and the way you smile. Dahil sa'yo, I think that you are beautiful. Your unstoppability, your grit, your ferociousness, the way you plant your feet. Dahil sa'yo, I love myself because I love you. I see myself in you and I see you in me. Dahil sa'yo, I think that I am beautiful. I think that I am a
Beautiful,
powerful,
strong brown woman.
the way I tell this history,
Her story,
their story,
your story pulsing dahil sa'yo, we breathe it in and out like instinct.
a moment,
this movement,
a cycle that keeps us alive.
It passes through our lungs,
runs through this blood, this body.
This story we write and claim and create.
To read and own.
To fill in the blanks and write in these margins.
To be continued, dahil sa'yo.
Thank you, Jennifer, Zoe, Juniper, and Allie. And thank you to our co-hosts, Rochelle and Blaine. And thank you all for celebrating FBANC this evening. We hope to see you in person next year for FBANC's 42nd annual gala. Good evening.